Go. Yep, you can start now. You can start now. Just a network problem, sorry. Hello. I have also increased his voice.
checkpoints and snapshots for the project. That's one thing. Checkpoints and snapshots are short of the project. That's one thing. That's not know that the file is ready. So either get add a file or it's not created for that. And the file now it starts. It can split the file or yes.
There you go. The heading came over here. I was able to push my change, and you can see the commits as well from here as well. You see this is the commit I made just right now. Modify readme. You can view the changes here as well, and a couple of tricks that you can use to view more changes. You can do a .diff over here. This will show you the detailed changes you made using the GitHub UI itself. And if you want more details of who made the change, do a .patch, P-A-T-C-H, and you can see who exactly made the change, the hash and everything. So now here you can see I made the change, what time, what was the subject, and what changes were made exactly. So this is how it works basically. Now you know how to create a repository on GitHub and clone it and make changes and push it back. So this is how it works basically. Now let's proceed to the next step. Like these are how you work with your personal projects. Now, like imagine you're working on a large project, like with a lot of people. So all of you cannot work on the same branch all the time. So what happens mostly, there is a single branch as the master branch. I'll demonstrate this change as well. So the master branch will be the main branch, which will hold all the main things that anyone can use. But you cannot make changes to it directly when working with a lot of people. So what you will do is you will create your own branch and work on that, push that branch to GitHub so that others can see, and then merge that branch with your master branch. So let's see how this part works. So as you can see right now, there is only a master branch over here, of course. So what I'll do over here now is I'll just create another branch. You create a new branch by doing git checkout -b branch name. So git branch, this lists out the current branches. So I need to create a new branch. So git branch -git checkout -b new branch. Now I'll do git branch. It shows two branches, master, the main branch, and the new branch which I just created right now. So I'll just make another change over here in the readme. So it's documents, and basically I'll just make it Yash's documents, save it, git add readme, git commit -m, update readme.md, and check the logs just to be sure. Yes, the change has been made. So now we're on separate branch. So the change you will see will not occur over here, as you'll just see in a moment. So git push. So now you see it won't push directly. Now you need to set a new branch over in GitHub as well. You need to tell GitHub that you're creating a new branch. So just copy paste the command git says over here, put it here, and then you have to go through the entire process of the credentials again, and there you go. Now it will push the changes over to GitHub and you can see the changes. Now we see here, as you see, the change has not been made over here, but in a new branch. So if I go to this and click the new branch, then we'll see the changes made. So here you can see Yash's documents. So that's basically how branching works. So you'll be wondering again why a branch is actually needed. So I'll just explain that again. Like if you're working on a very large project with multiple people, you all cannot be working on the same branch. In order to prevent that from happening, what we do is we create a new branch and we work on that branch so that our work remains separate from other work. And when we are done with it, then we can use git merge to merge the two branches together. So that's the use of branching. basically to keep your work to yourself until it is complete. So now let's discuss the concept of remotes. So how does Git know where exactly to push your work to? Like you're typing git push, but how does Git know that which repository it has to push to? So here come the concept of the remote origin and remote upstream. So up till now, since we're working with our own repository, we didn't need an upstream. We just had an origin. So I'll show you origin. So we do git remote -v. As you can see, there is just an origin over here, and that's it. We don't need an upstream because this is our own repository. So the upstream comes into play when you are working on somebody else's project. For example, you are working for an open source organization and you need to work for them. You'll clone the project from there and then you'll work on it. So now you need to tell Git that there is an upstream repository as well. Besides your own, there is somewhere else from where you are fetching the changes. So for that, you need remotes. So what git remote will do is it will fetch the changes from the remote, from the upstream repository and put them to your repository. So let's see how to set that up. Now you'll be wondering that you are pretty new to all this. How will you remember all these commands? So basically you don't need to remember these commands at all. So let's see how you can search for it. So what you'll need to do, your origin is configured automatically. For that, you don't need to do anything. Now, let's say I will try to clone this repository and make changes to this one. So the first, like just imagine it is an open source project I want to contribute to. The first step to do will be to fork the repository. So I go over here, I fork it, I'll fork it to my account, and it will take a couple of seconds to properly complete the process. And here you go. The repository has been forked. So as you can see, it has been forked from that link. So now let's say I go over here back and there are more people working on it. Someone makes a change over here, but how will the change come over here? So for that, we use the concept of remotes. So again, you don't need to remember all the commands. I'll just show you what to do in case you forget a command. So what we need to do here is to add a remote. So first we'll clone it like we did before. We go here and go back to my working directory. There are two folders here just, so I'll clone this one. And there you go. There's a new repository called musical octodoodle. So I go into it. And now I do git remote -v. So you can see this is the origin. So there is nothing here yet. So if I do cat readme, it'll just do this. But let's say somebody has been working here and they edit this file. So you need to fetch the changes to yourself. For that, you need to set the remote upstream. How to do that? So like if you're a beginner, you don't remember the commands, what you do is you just Google about it. You say how to set a remote upstream. You Google it, you'll see a lot of links. Just the best link is to go to the GitHub docs itself, open the link, it'll load up and you will see git remote -v, the origin's already there. Now we need to add the upstream link. So as you can see, it is pretty simple. The command is git remote add upstream. It's as simple as that. So what you do is you just copy this git remote add upstream, git remote add upstream, and the link to the upstream repo. Now this is our upstream repo, the main link to the fork. So I'll copy the link, I'll put it over here, and there you go. Now if you do git remote -v, here you go. There is your origin, your own repo on which you will be working, and there is the upstream repo on which all the contributors will be working on. So now let's see how exactly we can go about to making a pull request. So say you put a new feature in the application and now you want the change to be reflected in the main repository so other people can use it as well. So for that, we create something called a pull request. So you make your changes, you'll push all of them as we did up till now, and then the last step will be to create a new pull request. So how do we do that? Let's see. So currently I am on a working branch master. So whenever you're working on a project and you want to make a new change, you always create a new branch and work on that. So I'll check out to a new branch called patch 1. Now I'm on a new branch, as you can see over here, patch 1 and master. I am on patch 1, the one which is highlighted. Now I'll make a change to the README itself. So I'll open up my README, musical autodoodle. I'll just add, hello, this is my first contribution. And I'll say analyze it. So let's go through the process again. We'll do a git status. You'll see the change has been registered. You'll see what change, just to be sure. You see the changes that have been added over here. That's it. So now you will add the file. Now you will check it again. It has been registered. Now you will comment it. And you will say update readme. Now you will check your logs. You can see the change I have made has been registered by Git. So now what we'll do is we'll push it. Now what this push will do is it will just send the patch, it will send the change you made over here to my repository, not over here. For making the change over here, we'll need to create a pull request, which we'll see how to do. So I'll push it. Again, it says that you need to create a new branch of Upstream, so we'll just do that. And we put our username, put our password, and yeah, so that's it. And it has been pushed. So you go over here, you check out your branch called patch 1. You go here, you can see your changes. This change has been made. So now what we want is that a change be made here as well. So as you can see, it's already showing compare and make pull request. Since it's a fork, the GitHub will automatically detect that you pushed to a fork, and it will tell you that you can compare and make a pull request. So let's go ahead and make the pull request. You press on this button over here, and there you go. So update readme. We'll leave a nice comment over here saying, I have updated the readme with my first contribution.
Yash?
Yes.
Sorry, could you just like zoom in your screen, because they are not able to see your commands properly?
Oh, sure. Is it fine
Yeah,
now?
better. Yeah, better. Thank you.
Yeah. So you have updated your readme with your contribution, and now the final step, you can see your changes over here as well, and you create the pull request. And there you go. So your pull request has been made. That's it. That's how simple it is to make a change. So we'll just walk through the process again. You fork it. It comes to your repository. You add them, commit them, push them. That will push it to a new branch over here. And then you create the pull request. As you can see over here, the pull request is ready. The reviewer can just go there, review it, and merge it. You can view your changes over here as well. So that's how we create a pull request, and it's pretty simple. And so that's it about how to create a pull request. Now let's continue. So yeah. So if you want to try hands-on yourself some Git along with some GUI explanations, this website is a pretty nice website, learninggitbranching.js.org. It will help you visualize what exactly Git is doing in the background. Like it'll create branches, it'll show you visually whatever you are doing, and you can try it hands-on, and it's a pretty great learning tool, which I found pretty useful when I was learning Git. So let's take time to reflect what we can do with GitHub. So the shorter question will actually be to ask what we can not do with GitHub. Basically, you can do anything with GitHub. You can collaborate on projects. You can store your projects. You can use it as your online profile, your online resume. So you can contribute to a lot of open source projects. There are some really great projects like TensorFlow, PyTorch. All of these projects are hosted up on GitHub itself. So you can make changes to those projects as well. You just need to fork the repository, and you need to make a changes, create a pull request. And most of these open source communities are pretty friendly. They'll welcome you. They'll have their chat channels on Slack, Gitter, Telegram, etc. You just need to contact them and talk to them, and they'll help you out through it. It's pretty easy once you get into it, and it's actually kind of addictive. Once you get into it, you will really like what you're doing, and you will keep doing it repeatedly. So let's me tell you a bit about how GitHub helps you with like making people more aware. So for students, there is a GitHub Education Student Developer Pack. You can apply for it and you will be able to access all of the GitHub Pro features as well. So that's there. Then in these remote times, there is a need for a virtual classroom, for which there is GitHub Classroom. You can upload our assignments on GitHub Classroom, which will make it really easy for teachers to check it out and stuff like that. Then there are GitHub Campus advisors. Those are again for teachers. Teachers can be a GitHub Campus advisor and help you out with anything to do with GitHub. And then for us students, there is the GitHub Campus Expert program. I am a GitHub Campus expert, and it's an amazing program. You get to be a part of a diverse community from all around the world. They'll help you out with hosting events, and they'll give you sponsorship and swags, and like basically help you with anything you want related to hosting an event. So this is how GitHub helps us students. So let's go on to a bit of a few programs that you can do on GitHub itself. There's a program called 21 pull requests. That program starts somewhere around December, and it's basically a challenge for yourself. You need to complete 24 pull requests before December ends. And if you do that, it's pretty great. That means you have worked for almost an entire month. And yeah, it's good going. That's a really good start to your open source journey. Then the next thing is Hacktoberfest with 2020. It's almost here. October is starting on first. It's just starting in less than a week, and you can all take part in Hacktoberfest 2020. The site is up. You can register. So what Hacktoberfest is, like during the month of October, you basically need to make 5 commits, 5 pull requests to any repository, and if you do it successfully, DigitalOcean will send you a few stickers and a T-shirt. So this will basically help you kickstart your open source journey. You can just like filter out projects you like. You can contact Kotlin, web projects, machine learning, anything. Just make a pull request, which is good enough, and that's it. Hacktoberfest will give you a T-shirt. So that's a pretty nice event. I recommend that everyone who has not yet started out the open source journey start out with Hacktoberfest. It's really amazing. And then another thing that is hosted by GitHub itself is GitHub Game. So Game Off is held every year. It's basically a game development competition in which you can build a small game or something and submit it. And GitHub itself will review the game and announce the winners. It's basically a gaming hackathon held by GitHub. So these are the events that are hosted by GitHub. Now let's talk about why all these events are there. So there is something called open source software. So open source software is software which is hosted on platforms like GitHub, GitLab, etc. Like if you people use Linux, you know that is one of the biggest pieces of open source software out there that is hosted on GitHub itself. Then there is the language Python, that's open source, and you can contribute to all of these via various programs or even without taking part in a program. So being students, most of us will like to be a part of some program and contribute to these. So there's a program called Google Summer of Code, which happens every year. And the registrations start around March, and you can start contributing to an organization that takes part in Google Summer of Code and try to get that. The website, you can just Google out it, Google Summer of Code, and you'll get the website. Then there is a program by MLH, which started this year itself, Major League Hacking. That's also a pretty big company, and its partners with GitHub. So they have their open source contribution program. So you can just take part in that as well. You need to register, pass a couple of interviews, and if they like you, you're in. It's a pretty fun program. I am a part of that right now, and I assure you that doing open source is very well worth it. You will learn loads while contributing to open source. You will be exposed to a wide community of people, all of whom are ready to help you, and the learning curve will be exponential. So that's another program. Then there is the Linux Foundation Community Bridge program. Those of who you work with web apps will have heard of APIs, RESTful APIs, and nowadays GraphQL APIs. So GraphQL, for example, is an organization sponsored by the Linux Foundation. So you can enter the Community Bridge program and take part in contributing to GraphQL. So all of these programs are pretty amazing. They pay you as well. So basically you get to learn a lot along with getting paid, which is more than any student can ask for. So it's pretty amazing, and I'd recommend everyone to try it out if you're really interested in open source and developing new skills. So that's it from my side, and thank you for listening to all this. And if you have any doubts, please, I'll be happy to answer them.
Yeah, Yash, thank you so much, Yash, for the event, and thank you for organizing this session with us. It was a really insightful event, and thank you for bearing with us during this connectivity issue. As it was our first event, we are all still learning, so sorry about that. And thank you for also introducing us about the organizations we could contribute during the open source. And if there's any doubts, everybody is requested to drop in your doubts in the comment section, and you can contact us personally as well. Everyone is thank you.
Yeah, thanks again for having me. It was great for me as well. I hope everyone learned something from this.
Thank you for being so patient and helping us out.
Yeah.
Hey Yash, I am Ayush. I'm a core team member at DSC DCE. So I just wanna ask you something. I'm audible. Am I audible?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you're audible.
So
Continue.
I just wanna ask you that whenever I just talk to the people about Git and GitHub, many of they say like they have done 2 3 repo, now they have stopped doing contributing to this, contributing to the open source. So how continuously and how regularly they can contribute and do well in the this and get the full opportunity of this platform.
Yeah, so basically it's based on your own interest. So I personally am very interested in open source. So what I do to keep my contributions up, I search for repositories that I like when I was the first year, I started out with doing Android development. So I started working with an org which had quite a lot of Android projects, and so I was able to learn about Android, build my skill, as well as contribute to their projects. Then I started contributing to to the Wikimedia Foundation, the people who own Wikipedia. I contributed to Kivix, which is another suburb of Wikipedia. Then I became interested in computer vision. So I hunted about projects which use computer vision. So that's how you proceed. If you're interested in a particular field or domain, you hunt for projects related to that domain. If you're a web developer, you can hunt for web related projects and contribute to that. So it's all based on your interest, and basically I'd recommend choose a project which you would like to work upon. Don't just randomly choose a project. Choose something that matters to you and work on it. If you work on it, you'll definitely want to continue contributing and will have a great time.
Thanks, Yash.
Yeah, well,
Thank you, Yash. I hope everybody's doubts are cleared, and in case you have any other thing you want to speak to us, you can speak to Yash if you need any guidance, and find him on LinkedIn. And otherwise, our core team is present all the time, so you can contact us personally as well. We will obviously be organizing many more events in the upcoming days. So hope to see you all during those events as well. Thank you for being so patient and collaborating. Thank you, Yash.
yeah, welcome. Okay, so can I leave the stream?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, thanks again for contacting me. It was a great time.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you, Yash.
Aman, you could stop the streaming.
Okay, okay.